Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the show. My name is indeed Avrum Rosensweig. It's great to be here with you. You know, some stories are built on ideas, others are built on moments, and then there are the rare stories built on a life lived with intention, where dreams are not just imagined, but pursued with courage, with sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. This is one of those stories. It is the story of Eliav Dickstein, my guest today. Welcome. A man who asks not what Israel can do for him, but what he can do for it. Eliav's life does not begin on a battlefield, nor in the halls of power, but in a simple wooden treehouse in Renana, where a 16-year-old boy sat quietly, looking out over a eucalyptus tree, and dared to write down three dreams that would shape the course of his life: to walk the length of the land of Israel, to serve in one of the most elite military units in Israel, and to step beyond its borders to better understand the wider world. Eliav's path was not a straight path, but a journey marked by risk, by loss, by leadership, and by an evolving sense of responsibility to family, to peoplehood, and to the future of Israel itself. From the intimacy of a Zionist home shaped by powerful parents to the intensity of combat in the Duvdevan Unit, one of Israel's most elite undercover counterterrorism units. His service included moments of profound personal intensity, such as unknowingly coordinating the rescue of his own wounded brother. After years of service and reflection, Eliav arrives at a new chapter, one that asks not only what has been lived, but what must still be built. He became an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and now a political pioneer of sorts. This is not just a journey, it is a calling, it is a vision. Eliav's story has a consistent theme: living with intention, turning early dreams into lived reality, and then expanding that personal journey into a wider mission for the Jewish people and Eretz Yisrael, the state of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, a father of four, a very brave man, an Israeli through and through, Eliav Dickstein. How are you, Eliav?
Hi, Avram. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you. Can you give us a sense where you are right now?
I'm now in reserve duty, like you see. You see the uniform. I'm on duty now. I can't tell the exactly location, but I'm close to the border with Lebanon. Okay, and we are doing here now significant things, even the ceasefire with Hezbollah.
And how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are your brothers in arms? How are they doing?
We feel significant because there is some historic situation now. Why? Because now it's not another round with Hezbollah. We will fight, they fight, and we back and ceasefire, and each one back home. Now there is opportunity to change the reality. What I mean that now there is historic conditions that we have support from USA, from Donald Trump, and because of the October 7, so there is a final decision, a very serious decision now to change the situation in the border with Hezbollah and Lebanon. What does it mean? It's mean that now we create new buffer zone, okay? New buffer zone that we did it, let's say, from the big mistake of Ehud Barak when he was the prime minister, and he took back all the army to the border back Israel, and leave the security and of the all the people that live in the north. It's unresponsible. It's a big mistake. It's a big damage because on this way, first, you're not take a responsibility for the people that live in the north. Second, it's not the way that you need to fight with the radical Islam. Okay, you can't give them land. You need to take from them land when they make mistakes. This is the only way that they understand the language. This is the language of the Middle East. Okay, this is the language that we need to speak all the radical Islam around the world. If the West is next, it's already, you see what's going on in London, in Paris, and all this stuff. So here in the Middle East, you know exactly, it's kind of experience how you need to take care and to deal face to face with the radical Islam. And now is the first time that now we're seriously make it happen. We take from them land, okay? We create buffer zone in all our border, now in Lebanon, against Hezbollah in Lebanon, in the Golan Heights, okay, with Syria, and in the front in Gaza, okay, that we create all the yellow border now. So it's a buffer zone that will give us more time to respond, and we take the threat from our people that there is no terrorist on the border, okay, close to the border. It's unnormal. It's not make sense that people live and see the terrorists face to face in few meters from them. Which states in the world to agree for this situation? Okay, and I didn't mention all the missiles to it. Okay, I mentioned only the rate that like neighbors. Okay, that is very close to you. Okay, so it can make sense, and thanks God now, and the government and the support from USA give us the conditions now to change the reality, and we can stop all this situation until we have great buffer zone in each border.
Eliav, we who live in the diaspora, I live in Toronto, we don't go off to Milouim. We're not called up for 100, 200, 300, 400 days over a period of time to watch over Eretz Israel, and the Jewish people. But you do. And you have a wife and you have 4 children. Well, what is it like for you? What is it like for them when you go away and you do your work, which can be very dangerous work?
It's hard. I will tell you some story. In the first war, the second war in Lebanon on 2006, there is some unique operation that we landed a lot of Yasur helicopters deep in Lebanon, something like 20 kilometers inside. And I landed there. I was the second helicopter that landed there, and I take all my teams, all my soldiers together. And the first helicopter that go up and go to the south, to back to Israel, I saw him, and then I saw on the next ridge some light with missile that Hezbollah shoot, and the helicopter exploded in the air 100 meters behind my head. And I tell to myself, listen, there is a big ambush that waits for us now. I took a missile, and I tell to all my soldiers and my officers, be ready. And in my mind and in my heart, I separate from my wife, and my first son was Pioneer Chalutz. And I say, okay, I'm not going to back from here, but I need to concentrate now on the combat because it's going to be hard combat. Thanks God, I'm here now, but I remember this crucial time. And now I'm on reserve duty. and I sent to my kids yesterday some message. I tell them, listen, it's a long time. It's the first time after a few years that I'm not spend with you the memorial and the Independence Day of Israel.
Yes.
And I tell them, but I'm happy and I'm proud to wear the uniform of the IDF now and to do significant things now and to give you the conditions to celebrate in home. Okay, I'm on the border, but I give you the conditions to celebrate, and this is our goal. So, and another things, I lost my nephew in this war.
I'm
In
sorry.
November 24, I lost my nephew Ivri, and I feel that I'm continue his legacy here, to do significant things, to think not only ourselves, to think about the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation, it's include you in Canada, the guy in USA or other place. Okay, we are the same nation. Okay, you are doing the things that you support from there, and we are doing here, but we are the same nation. We are together. Okay, you remember in the Holocaust, no one, make difference. They kill all the Jews. Okay, there is no different. But now there is a big difference. There is IDF now, and strong IDF. Okay, and our main conclusion now, after the 7 October, that's we need to believe in our pet. Okay, on our justice of our pet. Okay, because this is the best weapon that we have, more than the pilots, more than the airplanes and helicopters and other missiles that we have. Okay, because before the October 7 we have a little problem, not a security problem, the confidence, self-confidence, because we have the abilities, we are strong, we are creative. Okay, but we need to believe on our pet, on our justice pet, that listen, we are the Jewish nation, we are proud of that, we are bring good things to the world, and Israel land belong to us. That's all. We are here, and because of the right of the Bible, and because of the power, the right of the power that we have too. Okay, but before the power we have the rights to be here because the Bible. That's all. Why? Because of the Bible. Because Avram Avinu. Okay, this is the reason, and we don't need to explain of that. And very very good that who is hate us, it will hate us. It doesn't depend on what we're going to explain. Okay, we lost the legitimacy in Gaza after the October 7 that they killed us, raped us. Okay, after 2 weeks, all the world and Europe, stop, what we are doing in Gaza. What we are doing in Gaza? Listen, we, in the disengagement, we gave them Gaza, all the land. We give them back the Gaza, okay? And even that, they come to us, cross the border, and killed and raped our babies and our women in our holiday. So there is bad and good in life, and we need to be strong and to deal with it face to face, and not, I would say, not to give to the other side, to recognize some weakness in our side. Okay, because they recognize that there is, if we give them opportunity.
Eliav, many of my guests whom I've spoken to in Israel, Chayalim, Chayalot, and so on, have spoken about people whom they have lost. And I'm always deeply curious about those young men, especially as your nephew who died at 21. He should rest in peace. Can you tell us a little bit about him? What was he like?
Ivri was a great guy with rare of sensitivity for people. very unique sensitivity for people. By the way, I'm established with him some organization that take care for a lot of people in Jerusalem.
Yes.
It's called the Enveloping of Light. And I will tell you some story, two stories. One, when he get married in the army, he was officer in Golani Brigade, and he get married. So there is some tradition to give to officer that married some all the electrician I would say electrician things, to home, frigidaire, and etc. etc. And he got
Oh,
it, and he
like
said,
hardware for the kitchen. Yes.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Hardware for the kitchen and furnitures and all this stuff. So I tell them, he said, I don't need it. I have soldiers that need it. So I
Yeah.
say, don't give me. He send all the things for soldiers. There is a problem in home.
Yes.
Okay, he doesn't get it. And with this guy, if I'm established and light, that we create some mutual responsibility model neighborhood that take care for a lot of weakness needs in the social, that we need old people and people with Down syndrome, etc., etc. It depends on the neighborhood in Jerusalem that need help, and we create system for that, and people that volunteer and adopt some needs, and then we create a lot of light of hours. Light of hours, it's the volunteers hours, okay, that people contribute working out. And now we and acting, and this is I met with him, and now I have a purpose and goal to continue and to develop this organization for Ivri. And we develop now new model to take this idea and to develop this with young leadership in high schools, that they will develop this model in the neighborhood that the high school located. Okay, and on this way you give education to the next generation, and this model called Ivri now, to develop this in new young leadership in a lot of high schools in Jerusalem. And we want now to develop that, and we need now, of course, more budget for that, but it's on process.
The way you describe this philanthropic project in an interview that I heard you in was it's sort of looking at the ecosystem of Jerusalem, the social ecosystem, seeing what the needs are of the various neighborhoods, and then making sure that you can respond to them. What really fascinates me, Eliav, and I think you're the perfect person to answer this, you speak about Israelis in such a passionate way. You talk about the killer instinct, right? In a positive way. You say that you're out of the box thinkers, that an Israeli will take a model, let's say it's in real estate, you're in real estate now, and they'll make it 3-4 times even better, right? I think what fascinates me and what fascinates many people in the Tfutsa, in the diaspora, is Israeli people's ability to be so creative, to take from sometimes the most difficult times of life and to build, but not to build, but to rebuild, and then to rebuild from that. It's fascinating to watch the character of the Israeli.
Yeah, I will tell you honestly. First, for the first part that you mentioned, I think that the main produce that Israel bring to the world, it's not the high-tech nation, it's the mutual responsibility nation.
Yes.
This is the main produce that we bring to, that we export to the world. Okay, but about what you say, it's a sweet and how you say that, sweet and together, the bad and good
Like
things together.
sweet and
What I
sour
mean?
meatballs, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Great. So what I mean that Israel, we are always in emergency
Yeah.
situation. So we are always need now to go over on some crisis, and then we develop ourselves. Okay. Take now 7 October. Okay, now let's change the borders. Okay. And so this is the reason that we are great under pressure. Israel now, after 78 years, need to build long-term vision with long-term plans and programs for a lot of other things like education and infrastructure and all these things, not to build ourselves always only in emergency situation. You understand what I mean? We are now, it was great for the 30, 40 first years, but now we need to take it, all the creative, all the ability to act under pressure and to think out of the box, but together with long-term vision. Okay, and this way you don't spend money and budget for from here to here, from now to now. You now you create vision to the education things and create a box of budget, and 9 years walk it now and create great things to the next generation. Okay, don't change every 2 years something because you like to maneuver and to be more creative, or you understand what I mean? So I think that on this way we need to improve our things, and I believe in honestly leadership. I believe on not to say, I don't believe on politically correct. I'm sorry. I believe on correct. Okay.
Yes.
When you're a strong leader, you go with your correct. You pay the prices that you need to pay, but you go with yourself. You live strong. You understand what I mean? This is my true. I believe that this is what I need to do because I believe that this is the way to serve better my country, and I go with it. Okay. And this is what I think that we need to do here. Okay, a lot of time because of the politics, so people maneuvers and not seriously service the nation and the country in the way that they really can do. They are not in full potential.
I mean, again, what's very compelling about your life to date, is that you took on a very serious position within the army. You became an entrepreneur by investing in real estate in London, in the UK, and in Israel and the United States. You're a manahel, you're a manager watching over, I think, 2,000 units in the United States. And most recently, you've talked about, and you've moved forward on the development, the building of what's called the Zionist Majority, which is the political party, right?
Yeah.
What I'm wondering about, is there a theme to all these different aspects of your life, starting at 16 when you were sitting in that eucalyptus tree and leading up to today? When you look at your life today, do the dots connect?
Okay, it's a great question. First, I have some unwritten agreement with God.
Yeah.
I'm doing 100% and he's doing all the rest. I'm doing 100% effort and he is doing the rest.
Yes.
And most of the time it's works, thanks God. And I remember that I write in the diary and on the eucalyptus tree in Ra'anana, in our garden. And I write that I want to cross the country in the international hike, and I want to draft to Duvdevan to undercover unit, and I want to some way to live abroad in some Jewish community to improve my English and to get big perspective. And all the things would happen, not on the long period, the period of time that I want. I still want to stay in USA or Canada more time and to improve my English, that it will be more fluently and with more vocabulary. But this is my agreement with God, and I balance all my fields together. I believe that I need, bread. So this is a little bit come from the real estate, but you need flour to what you live, what you're significant to live. And this is the majority movement, the Zionist majority movement, and the enveloping of light with Ivri that I lost it in the war, and we are continuing. So let's say the two things, we are not earn money from that. We are doing it for the significant. And I believe that each one of us, I ask myself every day the mirror question: if I do the best, and if something happened to me tomorrow, what I'm going to leave here, okay? Beside my great four kids and my family and the legacy. And I was in the army, and I do a lot of special operations. And by the way, I arrest Baraguti and all other things that I can say. And but even that, what you can now, what you leave to the next generation. So I try to do this with the project of enveloping light, and to continue the Ivri legacy. And about the politics, I try now to build the vision of the Zionist majority movement, and that will make changes on some things in Israel that need change for a long time, and nobody have the courage to change them.
My sister Etty, who lives in Efrat, when I told her about your bid to launch a new political party, she looked at me, and she's a tough Israeli, my sister. She said, "Why can't he work with one of the current parties?" Question to you.
First, it's a good question, and I will tell you honestly. Now, I behind the things that try now to connect few people together to create another right new. Listen, in the next election, we need a party that put, let's say, that will create a Zionist majority government that not depends on the radicals. Okay, it's open door to the ultra orthodox and not depend on the Arabs, and you can create big majority Zionist government that can create big decisions that we have to move forward for them. And now each government that depends all in the ultra orthodox or in the other side in the Arabs, you can move. You can do the things that most of the people in Israel really wanted to will happen. So this is the situation that we are there, and we need to solve it. We need to open new way about it, and the way it's to create some party that will take the two sides and to enforce them to be together and not depends on the ultra-Orthodox, with open door to the Orthodox, but not depend on them, okay? And not depends on the Arabs. But listen, my decision after that I lost Ivri, my nephew Ivri, it's to go and to be professional politics and to serve my nation. And I understand that it's a long journey going to be. And you know, in long journey, there is up and down, and it's going to be a very long journey and very challenging. But I don't know if I'm going to be in the Knesset, member in the parliament on this election or next election, but I know for sure that I got the final decision. And for me, it's good because I understand that I'm really serious about it. I'm not measure that, okay, if I'm not going to be on this, on the close parliament, I'm not there. No, it's a strategic decision for long term. And you know, there is things that only God going to get the decision. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to do the 100%. I want to build people that support me from Canada, from USA, to know me better, okay, to know my perception about variety of things, and to build it step by step for long term until I will get the most impact position to do good things and to serve my nation. You know, my father, there is some nice story. Once I growing up in some very liberal Zionist home. My mother was religious and Moroccan, and my father was secular and Ashkenaz. I will tell you two stories about this. It's amazing for me. first I was, when I was teenager, and I got the decision that I'm not going to fast in
Yom
Yom
Kippur.
Kippur.
Yeah.
So my mother, even with all her conservative background, she leave me food on the table. She tell me, listen, our love doesn't depend on these things. You are my kids, and I'm your mother. And I excited, and I appreciate my feeling for her hit the roof on this moment for all the life. This is to be a serious liberal, okay? Even it was not their principles. And another story, one day I back home from soccer with my friends, and I saw my father crying against the TV. And I came close to him. What happened? And he watched the funeral of Menachem Begin. And he told me, listen, we lost today a great man. And then he said me the say of like JFK, don't ask what the country give you, ask what you need to the country. And then he's tell me another things that I didn't understand at this age, but after a few years, I more implement because he passed away, so I think about it a lot. And he told me, and this is the legacy that he left me, my father. He told me, listen, the more you wired your wingspan, you can create more impact and influence. So I take it, and this is the vibe that I growing up with them, with my parents, and I think that this is my passion, this is my destiny, to influence on my nation, and it's not. I'm happy with it. When you know that you are in the right position, when you're happy with it, and the people around you support us and happy from what are you doing. This is some feedback from the environment that you are in the right position, that you are in the right position. To be happy in your part, I mean, it's not like we think, okay, you have enough money and you have the kids that you want, or some, or the home that you dream about it. I believe to be in your part, it's to be in your destination. To be in your position, you need to be leader, you need to be doctor, you need to be journalist. I don't know, okay? You need to be lawyer. Each one have the duty that he feel that this is his part, this is the right spot, the naturally spot that he need to go in after, okay? So this is what I
So
believe.
you feel like you're in your zone, in your own personal zone where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's right that now I combination the things between the reserve duty and the social entrepreneur and the real estate entrepreneur and the politics and Zionist entrepreneur. But between you and me, I want to concentrate. If I have enough money and quiet from home and all these things, I want to concentrate only on the politics.
Yes.
And
Yes.
politics, not in the, sometimes in Israel, politics, it sounds bad. I mean, not politics, high leadership, okay, professional politics, to take it to high level, to vision, okay, not to survive on the position, to do significant things to serve my country, okay, and yeah, this is what I feel that this is my passion and my destination. Yeah,
Can you do it? Can you be an MK? Do you have the spilkus to do it?
I'm focused on that, and this is my mission.
Yeah.
All the rest is God.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is because when we watch the back and forth, the dialogues that happen in the Knesset, it's powerful, it's strong, and sometimes it seems almost dirty in terms of how they approach one another. Um, it's your aspirations of ultimately, I'm assuming, being a member of Knesset, maybe even being the prime minister. You're dealing with situations that are so incredibly difficult, existentially difficult. And when I say to you, do you have it within you? I'm really saying is it takes a lot of courage, right?
Correct, but I believe that if you live your life, that you understand there is goals that more important than us, and you serve that, you don't take too much seriously all the politics games.
Hmm.
You are stick in your goals, on your vision. Okay, so there is all the politics games. I will tell you honestly. I think a year ago there is some interview with me in Channel 12, and I spoke about things, and I make separated between the soldiers that kidnaps to the civilians that kidnaps. I tell them, listen, soldier is under duty, and he know that, like I lost my nephew, and like I was in a lot of situation that I think that I'm not going to back home. Okay, that there is situation that soldier under duty know that he can injured, he can kidnap, the enemy can kidnap him, and he can getting killed, of course. But so this is part of the duty. But in the other side, the civilians that kidnap, it's a big mistakes that the state have to bring him home. Okay, the IDF, it's part of the duty that, when we are in the Western Wall in the beginning, each soldier are say there is situation that I'm going to sacrifice myself to defend on Eretz Israel and Am Israel. Okay, so it's part of the duty, and then after that, a lot of people don't like it, and they get to my kids and tell them it's going to be we're going to do a lot of tirades to my kids, and I take all my kids and speak with them in the living room, and they tell me, Daddy, you are strong, we believe in you, go forward, everything is okay. They give me a lot of support. I try to give them support and to figure out what's going on with them, and I got a lot of support with them. What I try to say here, that if you have strong basic and big believer on your goals to serve the army, you're not account all the small bullshit with people that try to do small politics. You understand what I mean?
Yes, yes, I do. I'm curious about your position, though, on Chayalim, IDF soldiers who are taken hostage. Your position being, as you said, much different than civilians, that they have to be considered like dead soldiers, right? In other
No,
words,
I mean, listen, Israel will do every time the best that they can to release everyone. You see what we did, okay? And we did it. Now, this is the first time that we don't have any hostages in Gaza, okay? For something more than 12 years that it was not there like that. So, but listen, to be in the Jewish nation and to live in the Middle East, sometimes you need to sacrifice, and we believe to sometimes to sacrifice soldiers, then that will happen the October 7 against civilians. Army need to be in the front and the civilians behind, not the opposite. Do you really think that I want my older son, Chalutz, Pioneer, this is his name,
yes,
is now 18 years old? It's mean that in the next months, the soon year is going to draft to the army. And I tell them, listen, Chalutz, he got a lot of good conditions and good exams, so he got a lot of good efforts to be in some intelligence units and computer units and all this stuff. And I tell him, great, well done, go check yourself if you want it. Tell me, listen, my father, I respect you, but you really think that I have the ability to be a fighter and people will die and I'm going to be in the computers? I'm going to the fighter units. So, and you really think that I'm his father really want that now we race to the IDF and will be in risk in the front? I don't want it. But I believe that this is the price that we need. It's the rent that we pay to live in the Middle East, in Eretz Israel, to keep the Jewish nation with our values. There is not free things in life. You pay a price. Okay? Free things, it means the quality is not good. Even in business, you know.
Yes. Don't take stuff for free. Yeah, you
Yeah.
make a very you make a very interesting point about your son being inducted into the army. And what I'm curious about is your feelings about going off and doing some very dangerous work, of which you do and which you have done. I'm assuming that when you take a look at yourself versus your son, who will go through Tiranut, basic training, and then if he's a combat officer or a soldier, he will go into dangerous places. Your feelings of yourself versus your feelings for him must be so dramatically different.
Of course, when you're a father, you know,
You're a father, yes.
you're
Yeah.
involved with your sensitive, and it's going to be hard. I see what's going on with my senior brother, Ilan, that lost his son Ivri. My brother was brigade commander, very tough guy. But when you lost your son, you are father. We are father. His father. And you know, nobody really want to be Avraham Avinu that sacrificed Yitzchak. Nobody. It's not naturally. But if the other choice is not to be here, if the other choice is to back to the Holocaust period of time, so you know.
You know, I interviewed Michael Leiter, who is Israel's ambassador to the United States.
Yeah,
And
great guy.
He's a great guy. He lost his son, Moshe.
He lost his son. Yeah,
Moshe,
great
yes.
son, great son.
So
Wow.
listen to what he told me. When Moshe Zachreni Levracha was in Tiranut, basic training, his father said to him, he knew the answer, but he said to him, "How is it that you can walk on that long march, yeah, with so much weight on your back?" And Moshe said, he says, I'll tell you. He says, I add more weight to it. His father said, what do you mean you add more weight? He said, I add the weight of my Bubba and my Zayda, the Jews of Europe who died in the Holocaust. I put them on my back.
Wow. Wow.
Michael Leiter told me, Michael Leiter told me, I asked him, how are you doing, you know, in your new job and with the loss of your son? He said, it's very, very hard. Sometimes I just don't want to get out of bed. But what I do is I add extra weight to my shoulders. The weight of the Jewish people throughout history. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think there is a lot of people that think like that, but the unique people that think with historic perspective, from this position of historic perspective, this is the great people. This is the great people that need to lead us, because they see the historic process. You understand what I mean? They see now how Israel nation now developed themselves from the time that we go out the exodus from Egypt until now. Even the problems and the challenges, they still see the process that we go forward step by step, and they can see how the bad things born good things. Okay? But if you take all the things without historic perspective and without faith, and you know, I have a rule, two rules about it. First, that when I don't understand things, I say, okay, this is the zone that the beliefs, the faith are begin. Okay? And second, when bad things happen to me, bad things, you know, I go outside where I am, look on the sky, and say thank you, even I'm stressful and still can careless or I say thank you because I understand there is some big perspective to the world, and there is a God that managed the things, and He knows the big picture, and we are not understand everything.
Yes.
And check that. You know, the persona that I so admire, it's Yosef from the Bible. Why
Yeah.
Yosef?
Yeah. Why?
Yosef have the character to know on the moment, on life, he have the big believer to understand the, he have the, I would say, the perspective, the retroactive
Understand.
perspective on the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are only after 2 months, after 2 years, we say, "Oh, great that I not get this position. It's for good." But on the moment, you are very sad. Yosef have the character to understand on the same situation, on the current situation, that this is for good. This is really for good. Okay, without any dilemmas. So it's we need to build this missile of to be a great believer. Okay, it's to work on that. It's process.
Eliav, as someone who fights terrorism, how do you make sure to guard your heart from becoming hardened?
Again,
Your job is to fight terrorism directly, right?
yeah,
You've seen a lot of evil.
yeah,
You you arrested Barghouti.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that. I'm guessing that when you're in an environment like that, in a place like that, your heart can become very hard, like Pharaoh in the Torah. How,
Correct. It's a good. Yeah, yeah,
how do you keep your heart soft? How do you do that? How do you go home and
yeah.
hold your child and hug them and kiss them?
So I will tell you honestly. First, you are became more tough, and sometimes you pay prices. Because sometimes the army, it's in. You can't get over from the army. It's became part of built in your system. But I will tell you what is my tip. Like David Avinu, our
Yeah.
father David from the Bible. He was Adino Atzani. Adino Atzani, it's mean he know to separate when to be tough against the enemy and sharp and determined and to come with all your strong and creative, and when to be soft when you are in home with the kids. Okay, you need to know to separate between the things, and you are the same person with different side. It's depend, like in Pirkei Avot, at time for that and time for that. So you need to know to do the switches.
And you can do that.
I try to do the best that I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what's
It's hard.
interesting? Eliav, when I ask deep questions about your character, and I've done
Yeah,
this with other Israelis, they
yeah.
always answer. They always answer. And while some people might think that you grew up in an environment where you're not so introspective, you can't go
Hmm.
so deeply because you don't have the time. It's not the
Yeah,
truth. Israelis are actually very introspective. Would you agree?
I agree 100% with you. I agree, and we are very sensitive. So
Yes, very. Yes.
yeah, this what they say. That, by the way, Shimon Peres says something nice on the Israelis. The same people that yelled on you on the stoplight, okay, is the same man
Yes.
that
Yeah.
after that will help you if you have some problem with your vehicle. You understand? This is
Yeah.
the Israeli, okay?
It's also Israeli that you're right wing and you're quoting a left wing leader, right? Which is a very nice thing.
Yeah, yeah, because I think Israeli, this is the attitude to come to be behind it. to think on the things with vision. Okay,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
different.
Eliav, when most people look at you, I'm assuming your soldiers, when they watch you and they're aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it, they probably see you as being extremely composed, even in very difficult times. What fears or what fear do you carry with you that most people would never guess, would never see?
One of my fears.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, each day I want to utilize the time. I'm have to utilize the time because I have a big perspective that we are pass away from here. We are not stay for long term here. So I need to utilize my life here, and according to that, to utilize each day because you don't know when the time is going to over. Okay, we
Yes.
are not controlling that, and I really afraid not to be significant. Yeah, significant. It's mean not significant for me. Significant. It's mean to do great things, to live better nation and better world, to do the best that I can to do this. Not that I have more money in my account. Okay, this is not to do better from my perspective. Okay, if I have enough money now, I will dedicate all my life to my nation, to the Jewish nation, to be model society. I think this is the goal. Now that we are of great state, we need the next, in two words, the next vision for our nation, for the Israel nation, the Jewish nation. I think, and this is my passion, it's to create a model society for the world with different and variety perspectives.
In the army, I'm guessing that when you have a responsibility, when you have a decision to make, there's not necessarily a lot of room for compromise, but yet as a politician, inherent to being in that job, you have to know how to compromise. Is there any challenge for you that way?
Listen, I believe that if you come with the right attitude to really take care to the public, to really take care to the nation, and you come with vision, most of the politics that came on the same room can get to agreement. Okay, it's depend what your attitude. You came to make small politics, and that you mere more titles and use in the to your base or in the paper on the website for tomorrow, or you really come to work and serve the army, and you come to solve things. This is make the difference. Okay, and one of the things that we need to change in Israel is to limit the time of people that serve. Because like in USA, for example, the president know when he start and when the date that he's going to finish. So
Yes.
he have to come to work and to leave some legacy. Okay. In Israel, he can continue and continue and say, wow, there is no limit time. So I need to invest time now. I'm survive in the chair, in the position, and not how I really work and do significant things. No, I want that our leader will invest 100% only to serve the army and not on small politics. Okay? Concentrate now to do significant things. Concentrate now, focus on to create big vision for the nation. Focus to develop the Galil and the Negev. Focus on the education revolution that we need and all this stuff. Okay, this is a leader that concentrate 100% on the nation, and it don't need to maneuver with small politics.
Yes.
Take now
Yes.
the position, go to war.
Finally, Eliav, when you go back to that 16-year-old boy sitting in the tree, the eucalyptus tree in Ranana, who was writing out these three very important goals in life, would he be proud of you today, that 16-year-old boy?
If I ask myself about, yeah, I think that yes. There is a story that I told you that one of the dreams that I write in my diary is to cross the country.
Yes.
And when I was 18 years old, so I finished the leadership here before the draft to the army, and I organized 6 teenagers like me, 18 years old, and we start to cross the country. And after 10 years, Arik Sharon was the previous minister, before he became prime minister, he went up to the Temple Mount. And I told to my mother, listen, I'm going to continue until I get to Elat city. And I continue another 12 days alone. And after this, each one joined me, each my friends will join me for 3 days in shifts. And I cross all the country in 39 days from Kibbutz Dan in the border of Lebanon to Elat.
Wow.
And yeah, and after that, why you mentioned, you remind me that after that, I found out that my mother go to the police during I crossed the country and tell them, listen, arrest my kid. He continued to walk alone. I'm arresting. So they left and they tell him, listen, you need to be proud on your son.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I want to complete our interview. Firstly, thank you so much for this. I'm very grateful, and I think what you had to say was highly informative, and much of it was very, very beautiful. You have a lovely soul, and you just make me and my son, and so many Jews throughout the world, confident that you're there in the front lines of the Jewish people, and I thank you from the depth of my heart for that. Thank you so much.
Thank for you. Big hug for all the Jews in Canada and all the people that hear your podcast. It's a great podcast.
Thank you.
And I hope it's not our last time. I hope it's only we create a new friendship.
Yeah, you'll never get rid of me, Eliav. Listen, I like to finish my interviews with a poem about my guests, which has been composed by AI. And this poem is called Ode to Eliav Dickstein. And it goes like this. Some stories are built on ideas, others on moments that flicker and fade. But there are stories, rare ones, forged in intention, where dreams are not whispered but carried, lifted, lived. This is one of those stories. This is the story of Eliav Dickstein, a man who asked not what Israel can give him, but what he can give to Israel. It does not begin in thunder. It does not begin in a war room, nor under the weight of history's gaze. It begins in a wooden treehouse in Renana. A boy of 16, quiet, watching eucalyptus trees tremble in the wind, and daring to write 3 dreams. From a Zionist home, roots deep, expectations deeper, to the shadows of the Duvdevan Unit, where identity dissolves and purpose sharpens. Ramallah, Jenin, streets where silence is louder than gunfire, where decisions are made not in minutes but in breaths. And there, without knowing, he reaches across fate itself and pulls his own brother back from its edge. What does a man do with that? When duty and blood collide without warning, when the mission became personal and the personal unbearably vast. Perhaps he does what Eliav does. He keeps moving. I need motion, he says, like an odometer spinning forward, because stillness is not where life is found. Because stillness is not where life is found. And so the boy in the treehouse becomes the man in motion. The soldier becomes the thinker. The witness becomes the builder. Because his story does not end in uniform, it opens into the political, the philosophical, the unfinished. Eliav speaks of Israel not just as a place, but as a pulse, a restless instinct, a refusal to accept the given, a nation that moves like he does, forward. And beneath it all, a single unbroken thread, to live with intention, to take the dreams of a boy, to make them real and then larger, a father of 4, a philanthropist, a builder of futures still unwritten, not just a journey, not just a life, a calling, a vision, a mission. Eliav Dickstein.
Wow. I'm excited.
It's very nice. I'll send you the poem.
Thank you. It was amazing. And big hug.
Eliav, thank you to your wife. Thank you to your children. Thank you to all your family and to all your community, to all of Eretz Yisrael. And and again, I'm very grateful for you taking the time to do this.
Thank
We
you.
will meet again. As my mother used to say, God bless her soul, sei gesund. You speak any Yiddish? A bissel.
A bissel, yeah.
Sei gesund.
Thank
Until
you.
we meet.
Big hug. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the opportunity that you gave me. And we'll see you soon. I hope so.
Be safe. Be safe.
You too. You too. We are winning.